Hi guys, this is the video for chapter 9, lesson 3. So in this video, we're going to be talking about rotations. Now, on your study guide, there is a first section that basically talks about how to freehand draw rotations. And so it gives you a step-by-step process on how you would draw a rotation using a protractor and a ruler. And figuring out how to rotate this at 75 degrees, 45 degrees, or 135 degrees. Well, I've uploaded a video that basically describes how to do that by hand, but you won't be tested over that. So I would recommend you watch the video so you at least know the gist of how you would do it. But knowing how to draw a rotation by hand is not going to be vital to this lesson. So the big part that we're really going to focus on is just the back of this 9-3 study guide. And so I am going to take a few notes with you guys, and I would definitely recommend you put this in your notes. We're going to title this 9-3 rotations. Okay, so when it comes to doing a rotation on a coordinate plane, we are only going to focus on 3 kinds. We're going to look at a 90-degree rotation, a 180-degree rotation, and a 270-degree rotation. And when it comes to rotations, the standard rotations, when we look at this, is always going to be counterclockwise, unless it's specified. Okay, so for example, if I had an image that was right here, okay, and I want to rotate this 90 degrees, that means this image is going to go through a counterclockwise 90-degree rotation, and counterclockwise goes this direction. And so when I draw this image, it would probably be right here. And so you can see from a point to another point, if you connected the corresponding points of this shape and connected them to the point of rotation, you would see that it makes a 90-degree angle. And so that's kind of how you can tell how far your rotation should go. And so when you're freehand drawing it, you would use a protractor and measure this degree out. But when we are looking at rotations on a coordinate plane, the cool thing is we actually start to see a pattern with your points and the change that they go through. So let's say that I have a standard point of XY. So I have an XY, and this point is going to go through a 90-degree rotation, 180-degree rotation, and 270-degree rotation. So if you write this down in your notes, you can just refer back to this pattern of the change that goes through with the X and Y. And then you don't have to measure out your rotation and the degrees it goes through. You just have to look at the points and change the points. So for a 90-degree rotation, what will happen is your X and Y will be reversed, and your Y is going to become the opposite sign. So if this were positive, this would become negative. If this were negative, this would become positive. So we'll do an example here. Let's say I have a 3-4 point. If it's going through a 90-degree rotation, it would become -4, 3, okay? Let's say I have a 1, -2 point. Goes through a 90-degree rotation, you would flip-flop the 2 and change the Y to become the opposite sign. So if it was negative, it becomes positive. So it would become 2, 1, okay? And so now let's take a look at the 180. With 180, your points are basically just going to become negatives. So if I had a point of 3, 4, it would become -3, -4. If I had a point that was at -1, -2, say -1, -2, excuse me, the point would become 1, 2. Okay, for 270, what would happen is they would reverse positions, and then your x would become the opposite. So if you had a point of 2, 4, this would become 4, negative 2. Get the idea? If this was 2, negative 2, negative 4, so let's say it was negative 2, negative 4, it would become negative 4, 2. So your x would become the opposite sign of what it originally was. Okay, so knowing this and having this in your notes, let's go and do a few practice on your study guide. So on your study guide, you've got a few points, some vertices, they make a shape, and it says it's going through rotation. So I would first list out your points, F, G, H, I, and I'd put my points down, and then I would graph it. I would graph my original image. So I have a 7, 7. These are counting up by 2. There's my F. G. H. I. Okay, it's trapezoid, right? I'm going to connect my points. There's my image. Now it's going through a 90-degree rotation. So I'm going to do the transformation. And because my points are all going through a change, I'm going to put a little apostrophe next to the letter of the name of the point to show that's gone through a change. Now I'm going to look back at my notes and look at, well, what would my points now become when it goes through a 90-degree rotation? Well, the X and Y flip-flop and the Y becomes negative. So this would become negative 7, 7, negative 2, 9, negative 2, 3, and negative 7, 5. Okay, so I'm going to go through this rotation by plotting these new points. I'm going to use a different color just so you can see the second image. So negative 7, 7, negative 2, 9, negative 2, 3, negative 7, 5. And these points, I should put a little apostrophe next to it. Okay, so my image, if I connect it, looks like that. So if I take a look at this, imagine I go connect my point H to the point of rotation. The point of rotation is the origin. And then I connect my new point H to the point of origin. See how this makes 90 degrees? Pretty cool. So that is a 90-degree rotation right there. All right, let's try number 2. Oh, number 2, actually, you guys can work that out on your own. It's a triangle going through a 90-degree rotation. We just did that, so practice that and see if it comes out to be a 90-degree rotation. Now looking at number 3. A, B, C. So I'm going to plot my points. And then connect my shape. So negative 3, 5, 0, 2, negative 5, 1. Okay, there's my triangle. It's going through a 180-degree rotation. So when I do this transition, 180 degrees says that my x and y simply just become opposites of each other. So this would become 3, -5. 0 can't be negative, so that will stay the same. 2 becomes negative. This becomes 5, -1. Okay, so now I have 3, -5. 0, -2. And 5, -1. So when I look at this, if I connect my B to the point of origin and then the new point B to the point of origin, it is 180 degrees. If I connect C to the point of origin, C to the point of origin, it will be 180 degrees. So pretty cool. All right, let's do number 4, PQRS. So I definitely recommend writing out the points on the side. 4, 7, 6, 6, 3, -2, 1, -1. Okay, let's plot those points. 4, 7, 6, 6, 3, -2, 1, -1. Okay, it's kind of like a little rectangle on the side. Now it's going through a 270-degree rotation. So 270, I flip-flop the x and y, and the x becomes negative. Okay, let's see if we did this correctly. Okay, 7, -4, 6, -6, -2, -3, and then -1, -1. Oh, that should be over here, I think. Okay. So if you imagine, I know my drawing's not great. I think it would be this point and this point. The rotation is going counterclockwise more than 180 degrees. So it's going counterclockwise, looks like, oh, maybe it goes from here to here, I think. Counterclockwise, 270 degrees. So that would be 180 plus another quarter. All right. And that's basically what you're doing there. So the big thing is, if you know the transformation that happens with your rotations and the change in your points, that is going to be the lifesaver for you. And taking good notes over this will be helpful, because on your test, I will probably let you use your notes over the 9-3 rotations and the 9-1 reflections. So having good notes over those will be really, really helpful.